Hello and welcome to Tillin It Like It Is, UGA Extension in Southeast Georgia's newest source for local, unbiased, research-based information about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. We're coming to you live today from Midville, Georgia. And if you are new to the pod, my name is Blake Carter, Effingham County A&R agent, and with me I have my co-host Savannah Tanner, the Emmanuel County A&R agent. We have a very special guest with us. We're doing things a little different this episode. In the past, we normally start with some different segments, such as what's going on or row by row report. But today, we're going to really have a focus on telling a little bit about a hidden gem, so to speak, in Southeast District Extension. And we have a really good guest with us to kind of talk to us about that. So before we get to that, we're going to let Savannah kind of give us a rundown on what she's been seeing in the row crop world. So, Savannah, I'll let you go ahead and take it from here.
So I reckon this kind of is the row by row report. But we're seeing a good many caterpillars come in peanuts. So we definitely want to be scouting those, making sure that we're not going to eat out of house and home with those, because it's pretty critical in the growing season now of putting out some pods and things like that. So making sure that we're scouting for those. The other thing that's starting to pop up pretty significantly is stink bugs in cotton. Want to be scouting for those. You scout for those a little different, because not just because you're seeing stink bugs, but you have to see the damage. And so you want to pull a random sample of quarter size bowls. One bowl per acre, no less than 25 in the field. And then we kind of need to know, if you're calling your county agent because you're concerned with them, we need to know what week of bloom you're in, so that we can determine the threshold. So make sure you're checking for stink bugs, and then caterpillars in your peanuts. The other thing is army worms are rampant in hayfields and pastures. A cowbird is not a scouting tool, so make sure you're out there on the ground looking, or you contact your county agent to come help you with that.
Yeah, and we're getting close to, I know for my county, I always, about August when I start checking beans for worms too, and we start looking at that. So it's on the horizon. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you've got beans in your field, keep that in mind, checking for worms. That can be very critical for deciding whether to spray or when to spray. All really good resources and really good tools. We have production guides for cotton, peanuts, and for soybeans, corn, all online from UGA. So any of that information that Savannah was just talking about in terms of insects or managing for that, there are resources available online that you can go to. Or if you're more of the hard copy style, you can get in touch with your county agent and get you a hard copy of one of the production manuals.
And I have a ton of the stink bug cards. So if you want to scout for stink bugs, come by the Emmanuel County office and I'll get you a card.
Shout out to the Cotton Commission for that, because I've got a bunch of those in my office as well. It comes with a handy dandy little lanyard. So come if you need one, give us a call. But that kind of sums up, I guess, the row by row report. Like I said, this one's a short one, this episode, because we really want to focus our attention on something that Savannah's been bringing up every week, the past few episodes, and that's an upcoming event here in Southeast District, and that's the Midville Field Day. And if y'all have never been to Midville, you might not have had a reason to come to Midville, but this is your reason to come to Midville. The Midville Experiment Station here is phenomenal. And today joining us, we have Mr. Anthony Black. He's the farm superintendent here. Anthony, thank you for joining us on the podcast today. We kind of wanted to start, Anthony, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your time here, the history, a little bit about where you've seen Midville grow and what y'all have been. What is it known for? What kind of research do y'all do here? And then we'll kind of focus on the Midville Field Day specifically.
Okay, well, thank you, Blake, Savannah, for having me today, allowing me this opportunity. As Blake said, we're here to talk about the Midville Station, predominantly what our upcoming field day will be August 7th, which is next Wednesday. This station has been here since 1951. It was It was one of several across the state. And basically these facilities were put in place to kind of highlight different enterprises and all. But the farm economy was particularly depressed after World War II. These different centers were put in place to just highlight different enterprises and new ways maybe of doing things to improve farm production and to keep people on the farm and being profitable. I think we're still tasked with that. We all know what kind of times we're in right now, particularly here the last year or two with commodity prices and input prices. So we're still fulfilling that mission. We were kind of in a mothball state in 2004. This facility was identified to kind of put back on the shelf, maybe so to say. And there was some budget cuts going through state government at that time. The economy was particularly depressed. So this station was identified to be put on hold as a cost savings measure. In 2007, under the leadership of Dean Scott Angle, it was decided that we either need to close the station altogether or open it fully and kind of get out of this halfway state of doing business. So I started here in 2008 when the center was basically reopened. And as part of that reopening, we had a grand reopening and with a field day, and we've had an annual field day ever since. It's always a well-attended event. And that day is just, it gives us an opportunity to show to industry, to show to stakeholders, to show to the general public, what we do, how we're spending the resources they're allocating us, and what we're doing for producers in this area. It's usually, it's a hot day, which any day that time of year, if it's not hot, something's wrong. So,
Yeah.
but it's a good time to see what we have going on and how, what's on the horizon, or, we run the gamut from, real basic research projects that maybe their results or the fruits of their labor may be seen 10 or 20 years from now. But then we also have a lot of real-time projects that a grower could leave that day and go home and implement on his farm immediately and see some some effect to his operation. And so we're just proud to have that day, and it's a chance for us to show off.
Yeah, it's kind of I kind of view Midville Field Day. The first time I ever came here was the first year I started in extension. That was 2020, and so you might have a similar experience when you first came to Midville, but it was kind of like Disneyland for people in agriculture, or at least in the row crop world, because there's a little bit of everything, and there's like you said, there's the practical side, but there's also some spectacle stuff that we show during the field day, and I it's kind of that nerd side comes out when you get to see native peanut plants compared to what we're growing now, and some of the evolution of those plants over time, some of the breeding programs and things like that. I think those are really cool, but also, last year we implemented had that drone demo, and that was pretty cool. Now this year we do have something else, right? That's pretty cool. That's going to be different.
We have a drone again as well, but this year we're going to focus. Last year we focused on pesticide applications, whether it be fungicide in corn or peanut fungicide. This year we're looking at seeding with a drone, and there's a lot of folks are starting to utilize cover crops into their operations, and this would be another tool to allow us timely implementation of cover crops, be able to kind of spread our labor out that time of year, which is very involved with harvest. It just allows us another tool to try and conquer some issues.
I think this particular event is really a toolbox of things. So sure, we're showing new equipment, new ways of doing things in reference to the actual equipment side, but we also talk about tools like variety selection. We're talking about growth regulators in peanuts, or even some of our growth regulator trials in cotton. And so I think this is just a really good showcase of all the tools that are either coming down the pipeline or are already making that the industry a little bit different. And so that's one of the things that I enjoy about Midville is the diversity in it. From somebody who didn't necessarily grow up on a row crop farm, you kind of get to see a little bit of all of it. And so from a new county agent perspective in 2016, it was almost a little overwhelming when you get to see all that. but hands down a learning experience. You're supposed to learn something every day, but when you come to Midville Field Day, you learn a lot of things that day. So just keeping that diversity in it, I think, is what sets us apart from everything else. Because we do, a lot of people south of us is is cotton and peanuts.
Yep.
So at least here, we have a forage sector, or have in the past, but you also, have your beans and your corn, and just a little variety, cover crop trials, things like that. Just a variety of everything.
Well, one thing that I think sets this event apart, and particularly sets this facility apart, maybe from some of the others in the state. I have a close working relationship with the county agents. Blake, you in Savannah. There's other counties. The county I'm in, which is Burke County, I work very close with the extension agents, and they're a big part of this field day. And I think that's what makes this field day run so smoothly and so effective. Is that I work. The College of Ag has three main components, and that's teaching, research, and extension. I'm research, but we work across the aisles with our counterparts over in extension to put on these days. And without their help, I couldn't do what we do here without your help, Savannah and Blake. And I think that's very important to the public to see how that works, because not a lot of people, they see UGA on our shirt, and then a lot of people automatically think football.
Yep.
And we are so much more than that. And I think it's a great opportunity to show what we're doing, how we're put in charge of, the resources that we've been allocated, and we get a chance to show what we're doing with those resources and how that we're able to affect lives.
And I think that's where, you mentioned that you're more of the research pillar and we're kind of the extension pillar, but I think together we are that education piece too.
Yes.
And I think that's the cool thing about this event, and it brings together all three elements of what we stand for and what we're here to do. And I think everybody that comes here, whether that's industry folks or the growers that that they're in our area, they all leave here with something. They're gaining something. Sometimes you go to field days and industry might not take away something. There might just be there to show face. But I think we've had a lot of good feedback of just being able to have everyone leave here with something new to take home with them or take away from this place with. And I think that's the benefit of this station particularly. I might be biased, but I think it's probably one of the best ones in the state, if not the best one. A lot of it, I think, has to do with you, Anthony. I think you do an excellent job here. And I know you said you're researching. I mean, from my perspective, you've been a teacher for new agents coming here too. You've taught, I know, Savannah, you can contest this. You've taught us a lot, and that's kind of helped us along with our careers as well. But this station is something that's really unique, really cool to see. Since you've been here, in that regard, what has been your favorite part of the station? You've been here for how many years now?
I'm going on 17.
17. So what has been your favorite part of this place? Because there's so much to take in. I mean, what has been your favorite?
I think my favorite thing has been the field days and the public interaction we get to do, or whether it's working with new agents. We do a lot of agent trainings here. I enjoy those days because I come from production agriculture of all my life, grew up in production agriculture, and it's just an opportunity for me, I think, to, as we go through our careers, less and less folks are growing up on the farm. And so I'm interacting with more and more people who have a passion for agriculture, but may have not come from a production setting. And I think I'm able to share my experiences with them and kind of give them an insight as to, granted my paycheck is not coming from production, but I am tasked with having to, provide a budget here that's based on production. So I feel like there's a lot of decisions that I make that I'm able to show agents, this is why farmers do things the way they do. Those that make their livelihoods are generated off their farms, this is why they do the things they do or make the decisions they make.
And I want to point out a few things that you just mentioned, because I think it's key for people that are listening that might not know about this and might not know about extension as much on the back end. So, like you said, there are a lot of agents now that are coming into our counties that might not have grown up on production ag. but we have a passion for agriculture, and research farms like Midville and working with Anthony, we're getting that experience of being on a production farm. Like you set a budget for the farm, you're running the farm. We get to come in and be able to work with you to see how to take those skills and apply them back in our counties and our communities too, and with our growers. So there is a lot of benefit to having almost like a our own farm to go back to work with, and I think that's what a lot of agents, at least our Midville team, views Midville as is our own little community farm that we work with, and learning from you and what goes on here and the research that's done.
It also gives us an opportunity to build relationships
Yep.
with our state specialists
That's
in certain
exactly right.
things, because
Yep.
you not saying you have to necessarily have them on all your research plots, but you've got to have the resources that they are. Their knowledge and their education kind of helps with that. So, you build those relationships from a county agent standpoint by working with them to do those trials. And even though they're not here, it's Anthony and Travis and Zach and Case, working with you. You build that relationship side of it too. But then you also have the knowledge and the academic side from your state specialists. And so it really puts in perspective that Midville and all of our research centers have to be a team effort to run and to work. From you've got your employees from the stations that are running the farm.
Yep.
You have your agents that are also helping make some decisions on farms, but then you also have your state specialists with the education. But the one thing that makes these research farms worth it are the farmers in the local area.
Yep.
And so it's just a big team effort to honestly better agriculture and make sustainable, economical, and smart decisions on anybody's farm.
And I'll go ahead and say that if you've never been to Midville, you might be thinking this is a small plot, little tiny farm thing that you might have gone to in the past, or been to another place that have had field days and things like that. There are small plots or small little example of different trials, but this is a farm. I mean, this is a functioning farm, and Anthony Black, above all, is also a farmer, and I think that brings a lot of value to what this place offers, because it's real world. I mean, it's not something that you're just going to have little tiny areas to show varieties. Now, this is full on. We have big plots. They have small trials as well, but they also have real world scenarios on farm, and I think that's a lot of value to it too. Just being able to see that, and Savannah mentioned about being a team. Just how many specialists are involved in just this year's field day alone?
I would say around 15 that, would actually be here present. But a lot of these trials, a lot of these, plots that we put in, they have a team approach to them. I mean, you may have a fertility specialist who is doing the main work, his main focus is in that trial, but he's, an agronomist is tied in with him, or insect specialist is tied in with him as well. I mean, it takes several head of people to make a lot of this work. So there's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of experience that goes into these trials to make decisions, and that's where these, y'all were talking earlier about your production guides. That's where that information is coming from. It's coming off of these farms. Anytime you receive an extension recommendation from an agent, it's been tried and tested on this farm as well as the other farms we have around the state. So,
and that's the other thing is, when us in the field and in our counties, when we're giving recommendations, they're based in something. We always say we're research based, unbiased information, and that this is where that comes from. The research that we do here and other experiment stations and across the state. Now, how many research plots do you have here? Because I know managing this place could probably get really hectic really fast. So how many trials on a given year would you say you deal with?
This year, I think I've got 52 different projects, and some of those run, from maybe an acre in size to where I have some larger projects that maybe, covering 17, 18 acres.
Wow.
So,
52.
and those have run the gamut from peanut fungicides to soybean breeding work to corn nitrogen management. They're all over the board. So there's a lot going on here. It's a lot more than meets the eye.
Yeah. I definitely think 52 is I do 3 and I feel like I'm pretty stretched thin. So 52 is pretty impressive. There's a lot of experience that goes into doing this. And what would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned over the years of managing a research farm specifically?
Probably one of the take-home messages that I see from the things I do here is timing.
Mm-hmm.
I think timing is very important when you can use the right chemicals, you can use the right seed, but if you don't do any of it in a timely fashion, I feel like you're wasting your money, and that's probably one of the biggest things I see is the timing.
Anything else you got for him, Savannah? Well, I want to say thank you, Anthony. That this field day has been going on for what now? 15, 17 years.
And actually, to be in all honesty, there's been a history of field days here. That's the time I've been here. And that was something else. Even when the center was mothballed, they were still having a field day. There was a lot of grassroots support around this particular center to keep it open. And that was one of the big things that swayed Dean Scott Engel at the time was the amount of support it had from the community. And we've tried to keep that original support. We've tried to not only build on it, but maintain it. And that's one reason we have a annual field day every year. We want to keep the public engaged, keep them coming through the gate. I feel like we do a lot of good work here for them, and we need to show that to them and let them be aware.
And I know from the times I've been here, that was post COVID was when I got here to my first field day, and even seeing the after COVID, Extension had this kind of cloud around them where it took a little bit of time. We're still not back at the peak where we were pre-COVID, but just seeing the outpour of people coming to the field day right after that kind of transition back from that COVID, that blip of a few years of weirdness back to normality, that tells the story of how valuable this place is, because there wasn't, I mean, it might have dropped a little bit in terms of attendance from what y'all have said in the past, like I said, but it really hasn't. I mean, if anything, it's growing. I know last year we had close to 200 or more people. So that, I mean, Savannah, you do
8 years. This will be my 8th field day, and even with the COVID year, we had, we did the virtual one where we showcased it, and we had like something views on that virtual field day, and so, but with this being my 8th, I've never seen less than 125, 130 here, even when it was raining, even when it was 110 degrees. It's a favorite event. It's my favorite event. And Anthony and his crew does an excellent job getting it set up every year. So
yeah, it's probably the nicest. I mean, it's planned out. I really do. I can't speak to it enough about how amazing of a field day this is. It does a lot. It takes a lot of work and effort, and Anthony and his team start planning this almost a year. I mean, 6 to 8 months in advance, if not a year. Right time the last one's over, they're already starting. Their gears are turning for next year, and that's how much they value putting on this. And I like what you said earlier about you like meeting with the public and talking to people, and I think that's a big value here, because you do have that the experience to kind of lend to teaching others, and I think people will listen a lot especially when it comes from somebody that they feel like they can relate to really, really well. and you just have that kind of presence to you here with this farm. And I feel like that's what Midville embodies, is almost like a home for people to come to. They feel like they belong here. They feel like they can get something out of it. They feel like they can, kind of come and learn without any kind of judgment or anything like that. Like you said, there's agents that are coming here that might not have that background to them. So I think that's a testament to what Midville and what you've built here.
So I guess that just puts a plug in. Y'all join us here on August the 7th at 9 a.m. I will tell you that we do have a pre-registration process, and that absolutely helps us make sure that we have enough food for everybody. You can access that on the Emanuel County UGA Extension page, but we will actually share it to the Tillin It Like It Is page later today, so that you can have that.
You can also find it at our website. The center has a website that is segeorgia.caes.uga.edu. Even if you're registered somewhere else, feel free to go to that website at any time. We try to keep it updated as best as we can, but you kind of see a lot of what's going on here.
And if you can't remember that little the actual website, I'll tell you an easy way. Type in Midville UGA research, and I promise you it's going to come up immediately. So just like I said, come join us. We will have a great field day. It'll be a great time.
With good door prizes.
With good door prizes, good food. But like I said, pre-registration is the key. Savannah would really appreciate if you went ahead and did that. If you're feeling frisky and want to look up a hype video, you can go to YouTube, type in Midville Field Day, and you should be able to see a video of the station and kind of see what the field days might involve and might pique your interest. If you're coming from outside of just the surrounding counties, I do think it's worth the trip. I do think it's very much worth the trip to come over here. So definitely recommend it. We hope to see you here. Until the next episode, we have some ideas of what that one might hold. It'll be probably more focused on your row crops and primarily probably on your peanuts and some of the research that we've got going on in the district in Southeast Georgia. But until then, just keep tilling it like it is, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.